what is zero-based promotion planning? Maybe just a quick excursion into the history of zero-based budgeting, which is the original term that was formed in the early 20s, 30s by the US government, because they started saying, okay, basically what zero-based means is to start a new financial fiscal year from scratch. We don't just say, okay, this is what we did last year, and then we do a bit more, do a bit less of this. No, we start with the concept of zero-based budgeting, no allocation of budgets to anything. We just need to find out what will actually be the best use of our resources, best use of our investments to create the budget for a new year. That took another 40 years before the zero-based budgeting approach became really popular, because Peter Furr at Texas Instruments wrote an article on it in the Harvard Business Review, and suddenly everyone said, okay, this is probably something that we should be doing. And from the 1980s onwards, zero-based budgeting was used in the federal government by US presidents. Later on, the usage declined a little bit, because as you want to drill down in data, of course, it needs a lot of space, memory space, for the data to be analyzed, which was difficult at that time still. Now, since 2010, more or less, it resurges. The concept of zero-based budgeting resurges, because now we have all the digital tools in place that even a company like us could easily offer to calculate large amounts of data in a very short period of time. So this is the zero-based budgeting approach. How do we convert this to promotion planning? Well, one has to be honest, there are some differences compared to zero-based budgeting in the fiscal or financial world. The difference is that, first of all, of course, we use it for promotions. We want to find out exclusively what promotions should be put into your annual promotional plan to make the best use of your resources, once again. But when it comes to your negotiations as manufacturers with retailers on the other side, typically you come to annual agreements. So there's a certain framework around the negotiation that might differ from this step-by-step, promotion-by-promotion approach, which zero-based budgeting or zero-based promotion planning actually infers to. And the objectives might be, for an individual promotion, might be different than purely the best financial use of resources. In some cases, you might want to drive volume, for example, because your production capacity lies idle. You want to increase volume sales. You want to block off competitors from going into second placements in stores, etc., etc. However, we think that the methodology of zero-based promotion planning is still valid, because it critically assesses the necessity and efficiency of every promotional action. You really look into every nitty-gritty detail of a promotion. The company culture needs to be like that anyhow. We really need to assess each individual use of resources. Is it the best allocation of an investment? And finally, we also need the senior management support to introduce that kind of methodology in the total business. So over to you, Tone, to show us a little bit how we could apply zero-based promotion planning step by step.
Thank you, Martin. So the first step is to identify the level at which you want to create your plan. In the rest of the presentation, we will mainly be using the example of soft drinks, and we put ourselves in the shoes of one of our valuable clients, Coca-Cola, even though all the labels to soft drinks that you will be seeing in this presentation are pure for illustrative reasons. So looking at the business of soft drinks, you could argue that the entity of promoting colas in grocery is really the right level at which to have a promo plan that serves one objective. The objective could be, for instance, to really grow volume, to grow profits, any other objective, but it might be different for instance, juices in convenience. So that's the first important step to identify the level at which you are creating your planning units. Second step is to define an overall objective for that plan. And as Martin was saying, profitability is not the only objective, especially with promotions. Largely set promotions for most companies are not profitable. Still, there's a reason to run them. For instance, to prevent competitors to occupy those promotional slots. That might already be one reason. So the first one here at the level of your overall promo plan might be to block competition. Which is a key, which is about obtaining the key promotional slots and prevent competitors from taking them. But obviously, growing your category, growing your market share, upgrading the demand of the shopper, all those objectives might be valid at the level of a total promotional plan. So back to colas in grocery. The third step is to define what we call promotional packages. A promotional package is mainly the combination of one brand with a certain pack size and then a certain mechanic and a level of discount that you would like to run. Because those four elements basically define largely the type of capabilities you have when it comes to promotions. So an example would be our 8-pack Coke Zero with a deep discount in grocery. That is one promotional package. In the example that we will be developing in the next couple of slides, you will see that we have several promotional packages, and some of them are very effective to serve the goal of growing volume and growing market share. Others are perhaps less effective of doing so. But market share and growing volume is not the only performance indicator. When we talk to our clients, we usually see that clients would like to find some kind of midway between profitability and volume. And when it comes to volume, as you have seen in the part that Martin has presented earlier, there is actually a big distinction to be made between volume that promotions generate and that is sourced from your competition or by growing the category, as opposed to incremental volume from promotions that is not so positive, such as the cannibalization example that Martin has given earlier. So what it basically comes down to is that we identify all our promotional packages, so the different brands, pack sizes, and type of promo mechanics, and we're going to rank them in terms of performance, not just on profitability, but also on their capability to steal share from competition. That would be this first one, or to grow the category. That would be another objective. And then thirdly, it's also important that we factor in the ability of a promo package to upgrade shopper demand, or to see that shopper demand is being downgraded. Too many promotions are actually focused on price discounting, and when you're promoting a brand pack that is sold at a not so high price point, well, promoting that will further downgrade overall shopper demand. So in this exercise, we are looking at profitability, the nature of incremental volume, which we call source of business, and thirdly, the shopper spend in terms of upgrading or downgrading. And so for profitability, we have this specific way to present performance. Maybe Martin, you can talk us through this live example. I think you're still muted, Martin.
Sorry, yeah, absolutely right. So thank you very much. This is obviously a visualization of a promotional plan, as you can see here on the bottom left. This is 489 dots, each dot representing one promotional activity at a specific retailer with a specific SKU. As you hover over the curve, you can see that each of those activities also displays the core values of what they achieved. You can see that in cumulative values, this is a net incremental sales value of 17.8 million euros. But the cumulative incremental profit is only 1.5. So you generate a lot of revenue, but as the curve indicates, and the curve is basically built upon two axes. As you can see on the horizontal axis, this is the cumulative net incremental sales value, so the 17.8 in total that we will arrive to with the last dot of the curve, which is unfortunately a red dot, and I'm coming to that in a minute. And on the vertical axis, you would see the cumulative incremental net supplier profit, so how much you're actually getting out of the promotion. Now, we call this graph an elephant's ear for obvious reason, because obvious reasons. It visualizes pretty much what an elephant ears looks like. There are a number of activities where we have green dots. Green dots meaning you have cumulative net incremental sales value, so you have marginal add-on for your revenue. But also on the vertical axis, you have additional profit that this promotion makes. So each of those green dots is something you absolutely want to have in your promotional plan for next year, because they serve the two purposes of a promotion, two possible purposes, to repeat this, which are to gain extra revenue and to gain extra profit. Then you have those dots in yellow. The yellow ones still generate additional revenue. So they bring you extra gross money, if you like, but they already lose out on profitability. So from an ideal perspective, if your only purpose of the business was to get to maximum profitability, you would want to stop at the border where the green dots change to yellow, because this is when you maximize your profitability. But maybe for all those reasons that we mentioned beforehand, to block competition, to occupy your production capacity, etc., you may want to make additional money without actually focusing on the profitability side. And then at the very end, you see some red dots, it's only a few in this case, that are actually generating no incremental profit, or rather make a negative profit. Plus, they even cause a decline in revenue. How is that possible? Well, because the incremental sales that they generate are actually not even reaching baseline. So you're actually doing something, running an activity that is performing less than what the pack would normally perform like in store. So this is basically our visualization of a whole promotional program from a profitability and incremental revenue perspective. So as pointed out beforehand, you can obviously say the green part is something you would want to do more of in the future. The yellow part is something you want to use only for strategic reasons. One of those can be blocking competition, blah, 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 what we said beforehand. And finally, in an ideal world, you would definitely look, first of all, at the red dots and say, okay, what are those activities that I can maybe simply quit, cancel, or can I find a mechanic that is suitable for them to still at least become a yellow dot, so generating some extra revenue instead of actually not generating any incremental value. So this is how we look at a total promotional plan, looking at, does the plan deliver the required volume? What is the budget required? In the case of annual funding, what is the total amount of discounting that you would be willing to invest? To then say, okay, how do we step by step add promotional items, promotional activity to my plan to ensure that at least the green dots are getting to a maximum where we are feeling comfortable. And as we pointed out beforehand, this is really the approach of zero-based promotion planning. Every activity is measured and evaluated with the same KPIs, if you like, to find out whether it makes sense to continue doing it or whether it is rather time to think about another activity.
And so, as we said before, a financial view on promotions is not the only perspective. If we were only to look at the financial view, then we would only keep the green dots, the green promotions. But in the example that you've seen before, those green promotions are less than half of all the promotions. And I think we all agree that there are other criteria that we need to factor in. And that's what we're going to do for all those so-called promo packages on this slide. So as we were indicating before, profitability is one metric. The nature of incremental sales, which we call source of business, is another metric. And the third metric to evaluate the performance of a promo package is shopper spend, whether it upgrades shopper spend or downgrades shopper spend. So on this illustrative example, you can see that we have about 8 different promo packages. And let's look at the first one, the 8-pack Coca-Cola Zero. We offer a multi-buy, 2 for a certain level of pounds. It's a deep discount. And that promotion, when we ran it in the past, was profitable. However, if we look at the nature of the incremental volumes that this promotion is generating, it was doing all right in terms of gaining share from competitors. It was doing a very good job when it comes to category expansion. It suffered from some cannibalization, and it was quite bad in terms of stockpiling. And also in terms of retail switching, which from a Coca-Cola point of view is not very interesting. You don't want to sell more at Tesco and less at Sainsbury's. You want to sell more at Tesco without selling less at Sainsbury's. So the retail switching, the higher it gets, the less interesting this promo package becomes from a supplier point of view. So that's why there's a thumbs down. And from a shopper spend perspective, this multi-buy for the 8-pack is actually upgrading shopper spend. The average soft drinks shopper is spending more in the category when this promotion is in place, as opposed to when there's no promotion like this multi-buy for the 8-pack. So we base our blended score on shopper spend, source of business, and profitability. And this is basically the best performing pack out of the 8. Out of the 8 different promo packages. So we give it a score of 9. And we are weighting all the different factors. And we're doing the same thing for all the other packs. Let's take another example. Single bottle PET 2-liter Coke Zero, medium price cuts. Well, this is the type of promo package or offer for a shopper that is not really moving the needle too much. It is profitable, but it's not generating a lot of competitive steel. It's definitely not generating category expansion. It certainly, sadly, causes some cannibalization. It also sadly causes retail switching. There's not too much stockpiling, but shoppers are really downgrading their spend. Generally said, a medium discount offer for a single unit quite often leads to shoppers switching to that pack and spending less than what they had planned to spend in the category. So this gets a very low score, 3.2. So similarly, we've done that for 8 different promo packages. And on the next slide, we make the summary. If we assume that at least a 6 out of 10 needs to be scored in order for a promo package to be acceptable, then we see that from all the packages that we ran last year, from all those 8 different promotions, that only 4 are meeting this bar of 6 out of 10. So we are not going to look at those 4 other packs and packages. They are not what we want to continue running. From a zero-based approach, we want the top slots to go to the 8-pack. We want less slots to the 2-liter. We want more multi-buys. We want less medium discounts and more deep discounts. And we basically want to cut all promotions for 4 out of the 8 packages. So then obviously is the question, how many promotions are we going to run for the number 1 pack, for the number 2 pack, and so on? We can't run all promotions for the top performing pack. And we need to factor in that if we run the 8 pack with a multi-buy and a deep discount, if we run that several times a year, eventually consumers, shoppers will become tired of this offer. There will be some kind of diminishing return for that type of promo package. So we came up with a model to simulate what is going to happen. On the next slide, we have a example. So we assume that for all the promotions that we run, we need to meet a 6 out of 10. We also assume that if we repeat the same promotion over and over again, that the performance is going to deteriorate. In this example, the first top performer, the 8-pack multi-buy, deep discount, the first time we run it, excellent performance, 9 out of 10. The second time we run it, the performance will be weaker, 8.3, but still it is the best for the number 2 slot of the year, the best out of all the promo packages. But for the third slot in our promo plan, this 8-pack multi-buy deep discount is no longer the top performer. The 2-liter PET product, the PET Coke Zero, will become the top performer. So the slot number 3 in our plan will go to that pack. Same for slot number 4. Slot number 5 then again changes. It will become the 24 cans. That is the top performer, and so on. So this is a simple simulation of how the performance will be for all those packs when we plan the additional further slot of promotions in our promo plan. And we are arbitrarily have put a performance bar on 6 out of 10, which means that mainly the 8-pack is being favorited for the 2 top performers, but we also see those multi-buys being in the running for slots number 3 and 4. And basically, we can go all the way down to 9 slots for this retailer in the year. If we go beyond 9, we will see that the performance sinks below 6. So 9 is the maximum number of promotions, given all those qualifications we've done before, shopper upgrading, source of business, profitability, that we have spoken about before. Obviously, that means that more promotions will no longer be valuable. Running more than 9 promotions in this example in the year will no longer be productive. So from our zero-based approach, we can get to 9 if we want to see a score of 6 out of 10. Obviously, if that performance limit changes, then we will see that less promotions can be run. So if we want to have 8 out of 10, only 3 slots will meet that requirement. If we lower the bar and we are happy with a performance of 5 out of 10, then we can go all the way down to 11 slots in a year. So this is obviously something that needs to be discussed. It's a choice, it's a strategic choice for this promo plan, Colas at Grocery, that needs to be made. Yeah, and so there's a lot of number crunching. Just quickly also mention that we are now relying on a tool that automatically generates those insights based on a data set. So we relying on one of the first generative AI tools for the consumer goods industry, but that's probably worth a discussion at another moment.